Let's now shift our focus towards Pakistan, where the country's heavy reliance on Chinese-built power plants, once termed as a game changer for the country's energy crisis, is now reportedly choking its economy, draining household finances and leaving its people in utter despair. Sounds quite messy, doesn't it? But how exactly did a partnership with one of its closest allies backfire so horribly for Pakistan? Let's just rewind a bit. Over a decade ago, Pakistan faced an energy crisis of monumental proportions. Power outages were the norm, crippling industries and disrupting daily life. Things were pretty bad. Desperate for a solution, Islamabad turned to Beijing under China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. This partnership promised to light up Pakistan's future with a series of coal, solar, hydroelectric power plants. And here lies the crux of the problem. Pakistan reportedly agreed to terms so skewed that they now seem almost reckless. In fact, Pakistan reportedly guaranteed Chinese state-owned companies returns of up to 34% annually in US dollars. Pakistan also committed to paying for the total power generation capacity of an energy plant, regardless of how much electricity was used. And worst of all, Pakistan pledged to repay those costs over a mere decade. The result? Pakistan found itself grappling with sky-high electricity rates. So initially, it seemed like a lifeline, but cracks in the plan reportedly became too obvious, and that coincided with the Pakistani rupee plunging, losing half its value. So that meant paying the dollar-denominated debts became even more expensive. Meanwhile, domestic demand for electricity reportedly failed to keep pace with the newfound supply. And today, Pakistan uses just 40% of its installed power capacity, yet it pays for 100%. So where does that leave the country? Well, in a mess. It's drowning in debt. While households and businesses are priced out of the energy market, consider the grim reality of ordinary Pakistanis. In parts like Lahore, running basic appliances for a month can reportedly cost $60, even at subsidized rates. Just for context here, Pakistan's per capita income is a mere $125 a month. This staggering disparity is reportedly forcing families to cut back on electricity use, resorting to rooftop solar panels, or worse, stealing power outright. As per reports, August saw electricity demand plummet by 17% compared to the same period last year. Perhaps a clear sign of how unaffordable power has become, and the economic fallout is catastrophic. Industries are reportedly shutting down, unable to cope with the soaring costs. Millions of households are in the dark, unable to afford electricity, and the government's finances are in shambles. As per reports, the debt owed to Chinese companies for these power plants exceeds $15 billion. On top of that, there's over $1 billion in unpaid power bills. So this is not just an energy crisis, it's a national emergency in a way. Some blame lies in decisions reportedly made decades ago. You see, in the 1990s, a World Bank push encouraged Pakistan to pivot from hydroelectric power to fossil fuel plants, prioritizing speed over sustainability. Yet it was the agreements with China signed under the Belt and Road Initiative that escalated the costs to unsustainable levels. There was reportedly no competitive bidding, no assessment of electricity demand, just blind faith in rapid economic growth that never actually materialized. Former officials now reportedly admit the missteps, acknowledging that Pakistan assumed an optimistic 6% growth rate. Instead, the economy continued to shrink and has grown by just 2.4% this year. Meanwhile, the country's debt obligations to China have only grown heavier. According to the World Bank's International Debt Report, Beijing holds nearly $29 billion of Pakistan's external debt. That's 22% of the total, making China Pakistan's largest creditor by far. And this is not just an economic story, it's a diplomatic one as well. The crisis is straining Pakistan's relationship with China, its long-standing ally. Beijing is reportedly yet to publicly respond to Islamabad's proposals to renegotiate the terms, including a 3-year debt payment moratorium and converting coal plants to cheaper domestic coal. Meanwhile, continued attacks on Chinese workers in Pakistan have further complicated matters. Like we told you last month, security concerns have reached such a level that China is now pushing to deploy its own personnel on Pakistani soil. Pakistan's plight is perhaps a glaring example of countries entangled in China's Belt and Road Initiative. The program, remember, promises infrastructure and economic growth, but the terms can often lead to a debt trap. For Pakistan, the dream of energy independence has turned into a nightmare of dependency and financial strain. And Islamabad, as Islamabad scrambles for solutions, including renegotiations and IMF bailouts, one thing is clear: the road ahead is uncertain. Tariffs have reportedly tripled or quadrupled in just 6 years. And the government faces mounting pressure to stabilize the situation. Yet, with power demand at an all-time low and debt continuing to climb, the question remains, can Pakistan really emerge out of this mess, or is it just too late? To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.